What's up? This is Mitz from Madball.
What's up? This is Toby from H2O.
You're watching PitCam TV.
Yeah, tonight you're playing in the SO36. What do you think about the city Berlin and the people in here?
This is almost like a second home to us. Really? Berlin is like when we play the States, New York is home. When we play Europe, Berlin is like, you know, we have a lot of friends and family here and people we know, so this is like the center for us.
Okay. Berlin's a city you can count on for a good show and good food, and has a New York vibe to it. Definitely.
Yeah, do you have like some favorite hot spots in the city?
I like to play Sunshine.
Yellow Sunshine?
Yeah, I like that spot. That's a good spot.
Vegan burgers.
Vegan burgers, yes. I mean, there's also so many things to look at here. I came a long time ago when the Berlin Wall was just taken down, so I got a piece of the Berlin Wall still back then. That was cool. Came in like in 90, was sick of it all. When did the wall go down?
89.
Right, I came right after that. It was crazy.
And the Franken Bar.
Yeah, of course.
What's his spot?
You don't like it?
I've never been there.
Do you have a favorite German band? Like favorite German hardcore band? Do you know some German bands?
Scorpions.
Scorpions.
Creator.
Okay.
Destruction.
Rammstein?
Rammstein.
Rammstein, yeah.
Accept. And then hardcore band, Rikers.
I was just going to say that.
Rikers.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Punishable Act, good friends of ours. What would you call Born from Pain? They're like every band. They have every country, but they're kind of German.
Yeah.
Good friends.
What was the first CD you bought yourself? And how old were you?
Wow.
Well, we both were old enough to buy records before there were CDs.
Okay.
And cassettes.
Cassettes.
8-tracks.
Okay. Which cassettes?
What was your first record?
My first 7-inch was AC/DC Back in Black. My brother got it for me, yeah.
Okay.
I didn't like it too much, but.
My first record was Iron Maiden, The Number of the Beast.
My first cassette was it was a cassette with Circle Jerks, Group Sex, and Wild in the Streets. Like 2 records on 1 cassette. That was cool.
Do you still have it?
No, but I love Circle Jerks.
Toby, before founding H2O in 1995, right?
94 was our first.
94, okay. You were on tour with Sick of It All as roadie. And you started your musical career as supporting singer on stage, supporting singer. If they hadn't a band.
Like an encore, or like something funny to do at the end of the set, or we would jump on stage at other people's shows and use their equipment and play one song. So it kind of spread from just being like a roadie Sick of It All thing to like actually when we came back from tour, trying to play on different people's shows and play a song or two. We did it Rancid set, we did it Biohazard set, we jumped on stage, used equipment, played one crazy song called My Love Is Real, and then I started making stickers. I still have them, water drop stickers, and you know, started promoting something. It wasn't even a band yet, and became a band. Sort of came from a joke, you know.
How did you feel when you first went on stage in front of all the people staring at you?
Our first show was in Queens. It was with Murphy's Law and Crown of Thorns, and I thought we were hard. We had like 5 songs, and I liked being on stage. I was always the center of attention in high school. I was always like I was the school jester. I was the prom king. I was like the funny breakdancing, skateboarding punk rock kid, and I don't know. When I was on stage, I loved it. But more and more, we got more serious about like actually sounding good and having harmonies and not a screaming band, more melodic band. Because I grew up on mostly melody stuff. I didn't grow up on the screaming stuff. But my Love Is Real song was just me going nuts. My nose would bleed, and it was wild. Anyway, so yeah, I like being on stage. It's fun.
Do you remember the first show with Madball? How did you feel?
I felt good. The first show I played was in 2001 with Madball. I was in Scarhead before I was in Madball. We had toured together a lot, and so when they asked me to play, it was a big honor. And the first show we did was a Europe tour. We did a Europe tour in 2001, March of 2001. In Bielefeld was the first show.
When did your bands first get in touch with each other?
I mean, Madball was already a band before H2O was a band. I already liked Madball. I met Freddie when he first moved to New York from Florida. I met him in 1989 or 90 on the Sick of It All Agnostic front tour. And that was when he had the 7-inch out. And then his band was starting to make records after that. Yeah, so I was a fan from the first 7-inch, you know. And then we became good friends in New York. And then H2O started up in 94. And yeah, and it was just automatically, they put us on shows because they were already established band, you know. Big family in New York, a lot of the bands.
The first show I ever played in any of the bands that we're associated with, I used to play for, my first band was Crown of Thorns. And I remember the first show I came to, I got out of the van and this guy came up and he says, "Where's the new guy? Where's the new guy?" And I said, "Hey, nice to meet you." He says, "Welcome to the family."
Oh, yeah,
That was the first time I met him. He said, "Well, welcome to the family." So
you're like a family.
Yeah,
Around,
absolutely.
Around.
Always.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That was 1997.
What were your thoughts when you first saw Madball on stage? When was your first Madball concert?
I don't know when the first time I saw them.
He said, "God, those guys are ugly."
No. It was just hard. It was something that, it was hardcore out there, but it wasn't, Madball was something special and still is something special. They weren't like screamy, they weren't like singy, but they had rhythm. It's like this stuff you want to like bob your head to, and there was no hardcore doing that with like rhythm and like kind of like has a hip hop vibe, like the rhythm, you know what I mean? Once you rock your head to it, it was nothing like that. Everything was just like either sick mosh or like super fast or like, but they had this rhythm and this groove, and like I knew Freddie's whole history and everybody else in the band, so everything was so real and still is so real. Like everything they write about and sing about, they live it. So it's just something special. There's only one Madball. Others have tried to be like that. There's only one Madball.
Do you remember your first H2O show?
Yes, it was that one in 1997.
Oh shit!
We played. We opened for H2O with Crown of Thorns, and I remember. H2O is a great band to me because it's an East Coast melodic band. In the States, all the melody in like punk and like hardcore comes from the West Coast. So I think they should be proud of being the New York band that was different. They were the New York band that had singing parts and melody to them and harmonies and did it with a New York style. It wasn't West Coast shit. It's the East Coast version of that stuff. So.
What means New York to you?
New York to me is the melting pot of the world. There's every color, every race, every religion, every person in the world is in New York. New York is a small version of the world. Cities like Berlin, cities like London, cities like, not so much Tokyo, but Paris. You have every color, every race, religion in one city together. This is very much like the world here. You have everybody here, so that's what New York means to me.
I agree with what he says. Yeah.
In 2004, you founded the hardcore supergroup Hazen Street. Can you tell us something about this project, and will there be another record?
It was really fun to make. It was like one of the funnest albums I ever made out of all the records I made with H2O. Hazen's one of my favorite, just because it was such an awesome dynamic of people that I've known and grown up with and been around and have respect for, but then to make music with them was awesome. And yeah, I mean, we're playing Grows Rock, we're playing B&B Bowl. We got a couple extra other shows out here in April around the Grows Rock.
Berlin,
we're playing Berlin.
Yep. In April, end of April, at Huxley's.
Yeah, so we'll be out here then. Yeah, it's gonna. I mean, we'd like to make another record, you know. Even Chad, right before I left, he was talking about some demos he had. So yeah, we might do something. It was just hard to get everybody on the same page because everybody's doing all their own things, you know. But now it might be easier.
Okay.
Sure.
Both of you are old hands in the hardcore scene. Which changes have you recognized between the last 10 years?
I think that it's very much the same. I think each generation is the same, but it just looks different from your perspective. But one thing I remember is that when I was growing up, going to hardcore shows, it didn't matter whether it was a melody band or a heavy band, or it was like people came out to support every band. There was no like, oh, these guys are metalcore, and then these guys are there was no names like that for bands. Everybody was just together. You had, you know, Token Entry and Sick of It All and Warzone and Agnostic Front and the Cro-Mags, and all those bands were just hardcore, you know, and everybody would go to every show, Murphy's Law. It didn't matter like, oh, those guys are straight edge or they're this or that. It wasn't so much division. Everybody was going to every show, and I think nowadays, I think people get caught up in trying to define bands and trying to come up with like, oh, they're this or they're that, and putting names on things. I think it's a little silly.
I left New York in 2001 and became a dad soon after that. So when people ask me about like how the scene's changed, I mean the scene, I don't know anything about the scene because I don't live in New York anymore. And my scene is like, when we come tonight, we play when Madball and H2O play together, or Rebellion comes to Berlin. That's our scene. Everywhere we go and play, when whoever shows up in that town, that's the scene. That's the scene I know, because I don't go to shows in LA that much. I mean, my scene is in my house, me, my wife, and my kid. That's the scene enough. That's my life now. But when I'm on tour, I mean, whoever H2O plays, whoever Madball plays, or any hardcore band goes and plays and people come out, that's the scene to me. That's how it is. And it's been awesome. It's awesome. I mean, like, kids are getting younger. Kids are finding out about all the older bands, which is really amazing, because a couple years back, kids didn't really care about the roots or the history of the music. They just liked what they heard right then, or saw on the Warped Tour, or saw on television. That was cool to them, you know? So now kids, it seems like there's like this whole rehash of throwback kids, where the kids are buying the old Revelation shirts off of eBay. They're wearing all the old school shit. They respect and love the old stuff. They want to hear the old stuff. You know what I mean? So I think it's cool. I think kids are definitely appreciating the past and coming out for the older bands. And that's why us older bands are still doing it and still playing shows, because people keep coming and new generations of kids keep coming. There's kids coming to our shows now with their kids, and their kids like H2O. You know, it's crazy, man. It's like,
it's true.
Our kids get younger, and then the parents are still coming, and they're in the crowd. So it's cool.
How many children do you have?
One. That's it.
Just one.
Mm-hmm.
Girl or boy?
A boy.
Boy. How old is he?
9.
9. Okay. How would you react if your boss says, "I want to be a musician"?
He is.
He already is. He plays drums, and now he's learning guitar. But he knows he needs to have a plan B and C. He wants to be like a doctor. He wants to be a scientist. He wants to be all the typical kids want to be right now. A fireman, a policeman. He loves playing drums. He loves music. He loves art. He's a super great artist. He loves reading. He loves, you know, like, he's well-rounded. You bring him on tour, he's very well-rounded. And, you know, it's his choice what he wants to do. He's being raised a vegetarian right now. If he wants to eat meat someday, that's fine. You know, obviously, he's straight edge because he's 9. You know, when he turns 18, when he's not living under my roof, he can, you know, when he's 18 or 19, 20, do what he wants.
He told me the first beer he's ever going to have is with his son.
Really?
When I'm like 80. No.
Straight edge break.
I'll never sell a straight edge, even for my son.
You told me you'd have a beer with him, though, if you wanted one.
I was just saying to make you happy.
Do you have children?
No. Not that I know of.
Okay. Yeah, how do you reconcile the music and the family? I mean, it's pretty hard to reconcile these both things.
Well, I've been blessed because most of H2O's career, my wife was on tour selling merch for us for like 7 or 8 years. So I had my wife with me the whole time. But then it got harder when we took the 7-year hiatus. We were playing shows, like we went to South America, went to Japan, and then my wife couldn't come with me anymore. So then I got a son, so now I'm missing my son and my wife. So that made it super hard. But as of recently, my wife's been coming out. Like, she's going to come to Europe with my son with me in June. When we come out here, yeah. And she does like a couple of shows here and there, and my son comes out. And yeah, it's cool. I'm very blessed, man, because I have an amazing wife and awesome son, and very supportive of my crazy life, and so very blessed. It's a good. I can balance it, because I feel like me going away and coming back, I like that. I don't like leaving them, but when I come back, I love it. Once I'm out here and I'm out here on tour with my friends, it's good. But I hate the thought of going on tour and leaving, and it stresses me out. But then when I'm here playing shows and talking to them on Skype, and then I go home and see them, it's awesome. It's good to be able to miss your family and then, you know, have a little break. Because having me in the house is my wife like having 2 sons, so she needs a little break.
Okay. In November last year, you have released a record called "Don't Forget Your Roots,"
Yes.
in which you cover some of your favorite punk rock and hardcore bands. And one of these is Madball's Pride.
Yeah.
Why have you chosen this one?
because that's one of my favorite songs by them. It's the most catchy, anthematic, makes me smile, brings back a lot of memories from that era of hanging out with everybody. That was one of my favorite songs. I feel like that back then was like, I don't know, that song always was special to me. I just love it. I mean, I love all the records, you know, but back then the Pride song, like, that song could have been, I mean, that's like a hardcore hit, man. That song is just the fucking anthem. You watch every night when they play it. It's like, it's just a great big sing-along song. It's my favorite song. I love the video. I remember when they shot the video, and yeah, it was just awesome to do that.
And when can we expect a new Madball record?
This year we're gonna do like a 7-inch EP, with maybe 4 or 5 new songs, and we should have it out hopefully by the summer or the fall. Okay. We're gonna record next month in April.
Okay. Do you already have a name for it?
No, we don't have a name for it. We don't have a name for it. We don't even have all the songs finished yet. We're just still working on it, but.
I think it's called Berlin is Awesome.
Besides hardcore, you are interested in hip-hop music, you said?
Coldplay is one of my favorite bands.
Coldplay?
Adele,
Coldplay isn't
Sade,
okay.
Madonna, fucking Nicki Minaj, Jay-Z. I don't listen to any hardcore, ever. Maybe I listen to some old shit if I'm running. I listen to Climax, Madball. I listen to all the classic stuff I grew up on. Gorilla Biscuits, Dag Nasty, Minor Threat when I run and work out. But when I'm home, I listen to mellow shit, man. My son listens to it. My son loves the Ramones. My son has like a crazy iPod with like Madball and everything. And but I listen to all kinds of music.
I think you need to, as a musician, you have to listen to different kinds of music than what you play.
Because every day,
yeah, if you listen to hardcore and you play hardcore, then you're gonna get no inspiration. There's no different angles. You have to listen to other music to give yourself a break. Yeah, I listen to everything in the world. I listen to metal, rock, classical music, everything. Pop, you know, some hip hop. I listen to everything under the sun.
Okay. Who's your favorite hip hop artist at the moment?
Let me ask you, what's yours favorite, Mitch? Run DMC?
I see my hip hop was 20 years ago. I liked Public Enemy and NWA and Ice Cube, and I mean that was shit that I liked. I'm not really up on much new stuff, but you know, when I was younger, I liked a lot of rap.
Today is actually the anniversary of Biggie Smalls. He died today in 1997. Biggie Smalls, Nas, Jay-Z, Wu-Tang, Mobb Deep, Eminem.
So you're in new school.
Jay-Z in new school. Nas is in new school.
He likes the
Eric B. Rakim, Big Daddy Kane, Cool G Rap, Tribe Called Quest, Naughty by Nature, De La Soul, everything, all that shit. I saw all that when I was growing up. Love that. Still love it. Listen, I can listen to hip hop all day long.
12 years ago, you have covered Ice Cube's.
Yeah.
It was good, right?
12 years ago, oh my God.
Yeah. Which hip hop song would you cover at the moment?
We actually were going to cover Tribe Called Quest song on the new record, but it didn't come out. It wasn't sounding right. It's hard for hardcore bands to cover. I think it's hard for rock bands in general to really cover a hip hop song and do it justice. You know what I mean? I feel like the Ice Cube song, we really worked hard on. I think it came off for what it was, and Ice Cube actually liked it, which was cool. And we got to do the video, and that was awesome. But I don't think we'd ever do a hip hop song. I can't rhyme, and you know.
Okay. Which job would you do if you wouldn't be in a band?
Well, I do motivational speaking now, which I've done 18 schools, and I love it. This is what I want to do the rest of my life. I would love to do. I would love to do that, and I'm still doing it. And it's going good. My foundation and my nonprofit's about to be 100% done, and yeah, so I love doing that.
And you?
I'd like to be a history teacher, maybe.
Yeah.
Why?
Because I know all this useless information about history, and nobody wants to talk about it with me because I sound like a know-it-all.
Just to impress women? Or?
No, just because I'm a nerd about it. It's fascinating to me.
Imagine, please, you're sitting in front of a boy who is thinking about becoming straight. How would you react, and what would you say?
I think it's a great way of life if you can do it. And I mean, I drink, but I drink in moderation.
Okay.
I don't do any real drugs. I'll smoke a little pot here and there, but if it's something you want to do, I support it. I mean, this guy's straight edge. I would never
How-
expect him to break it.
Yeah.
How would you convince him?
But I don't preach to people because nobody in my band is straight edge. So it's like I can't tell people what to do. I've never tried any drinking or drugs, so I can't say, I've never tried in my whole life. So I can't say, you shouldn't try drinking, man. It's going to ruin your life. All I can say is, hey, here's a couple of my friends who died from addiction. This is what happened to them. This is the path that leads you to sometimes. And like, you know, it's your life, your choice. This is who I am. This is what I've done my whole life without doing anything. And you don't have to do it. If your friends are telling you to do something you want to do, they're not your friends. That peer pressure bullshit, those people aren't your friends. I say that in the schools. I say, people telling you, drink this, you're not my friend, they're not your friend in the first place. Your friends love you and they'll support any choice you make. These guys have been my friends for over almost 20 years. And they never tell me, you're a pussy, you don't drink, you're fucking, they don't care. This is who I am, that's who they are. So it's like, make a decision for yourself. Not
Individual choice.
Yeah, not what everybody else is doing around you, do it for yourself.
Do you have an all-time favorite tour story together?
I remember one time we were on tour with Hazen Street and the bus almost crashed.
Really?
And everyone was asleep and the bus drove off the road by accident.
Driver, man, he was...
Where have you been?
I was in my bunk. We were in the States, in the U.S. I was in my bunk. And I don't want to say who, but one of my friends was screaming.
I was screaming bloody murder, man. I fell out of my bunk. I was like, guys. And all I was doing was in the bunk, like, trying to hold myself because I was waiting for it to hit, you know? And it didn't, thank you, God. Guys! Oh, and he got hit in the head with a fucking mirror. Fell on him. A glass mirror cut me in my...
And he had a big knot, like a golf ball in his
Oh my
head.
God.
So, that's a good tour story.
God. Oh my God. It's so fucked up.
Okay, just to have a scarf.
Nah, scar head, I don't know. I wish I had a scar, because I like scars. My wife thinks scars are sexy.
Okay, so thank you for the interview.
Thank you.
Thank you, thanks for your
Okay.
time.